shower, get ready, and go to work.
And that's it. That'll be the day.
You realize you hit start, right?
Yes, I did.
This is how we're starting our podcast.
Yeah, so we're starting the podcast now. I got the intro. This is always, we're gonna have some behind the scenes content. Hold on.
Really? I forgot about that. God, it's been so long, man.
What? Whoa, Trevor, is this? Oh my gosh, is this the recording room? Is
I
this
think it is.
weekly gaming on Xbox? I didn't even know this podcast still existed.
We have returned.
Wow. Well, welcome back everybody to weekly gaming on Xbox. It has been so long since we have seen you guys. I think I have it written down here somewhere. It's been literally over 6 months.
It's definitely been over a year, because I think the last time we recorded was March of 2021, and it is now October 12th of 2022.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, it was January. Oh my god, it was January of 2021. Oh my gosh. That's kind of crazy. But yes, everybody, we're back after a very long hiatus. I want you all to know that this hiatus was literally supposed to be me and Trevor. I just talked to him because I was moving, and so it was supposed to be like a month. And then, we were like, okay, good, we'll get a month break, it won't be a big deal. I think I even talked about it on a YouTube video. I was like, oh, we're just taking a little hiatus, like nothing big. And then I had 3 job transitions. Trevor moved, I think, twice as well.
We'll get to that at the end of the show, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, a short hiatus turned into quite a long stretch. But we're so happy to be back after over 6 months. Like Trevor said, probably just hot over a year. It's been so long. We've been doing so much, and so it's very exciting. Now, as always, we have to start with the games that we're playing right now, since it's been such a hot minute. So first, of course, I don't think I've ever had a show where I haven't said this, and so it still is holding very true. Of course, I still have Minecraft on my roster, still playing a ton of that, as always. State of Decay 2 has made it back onto my roster ever since I moved this third time here. And I finally played Stardew Valley. This was a big thing, Trevor.
I'll have to try and check it out.
My friends, some of our friends, everybody has been mentioning Stardew Valley. I never did it. I finally did it. I did enjoy it. I did not finish it, but I did enjoy it, and I'll probably finish it eventually. So Trevor, what have you been up to? What games have you been playing while we've been gone all these years?
All these years. It's been about, I want to say it's been about 2 years. I mean, well, or not 2 years. It's been about a year.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I guess it is coming close to 2 years that we've been recording.
Yeah, January would have been 2 years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, bringing it back pretty late. It's been interesting. I've been kind of rotating around through a lot of games actually over the years. I grinded out a ton of Cold War, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War for a while. Still back. I'm still playing it. Still playing it to this day. It's one of my favorites. Definitely grinding out the snipers right now with the snipers game mode. Snipers only. I found out I'm an absolute beast with the Pellington in it.
That's on period.
I love that. Hey, I've been a sniper kid since the Black Ops 2 days. I'm trying to think. It was 2012 when I got the game, maybe. I want to say it was
My
like
gosh.
2012 when I got the game. It is 10 years ago. Yeah, it's been a long journey. I mean, shoot, I was 10 years old when I got that game, and I'm now 20, and I still play COD. I missed the
Also,
Black
it's
Ops
kind of
2
crazy that,
days.
yes, it's kind of crazy that we're back on the old Discord server too. I had to dust it off for us to join it.
Mine still sits empty as always.
Mine, we had a little bit of
Yeah.
activity in the old community, but the podcast section of it has been very dusty.
Yeah, we've
Honestly,
been
honestly.
very lacking lately over how everything's been. I don't know much from your point of view on how things have been running from your side, but I know that my side, I've been trying to jump in and stream. I've been streaming back in, what was it, Uh, maybe it was February or March. I think it was February of this year. I
Hmm.
started really playing Apex Legends, and I've been grinding it out a lot. And actually, just the other week, I had hit. I got two. I have now two heirlooms in the game. I had gotten one from the Loba event. Um, I got hers. It's really cool. I really love it. And
Oh,
then I bought a set of Apex packs, and it had 100 Apex packs with a keychain. So the keychain thing, it's a weapon charm, but I'm gonna call it a keychain because it's pretty much what it is. Was
it's
an
our friendly
absolute waste of
keychain
money.
friend.
Yeah, it was a pretty big waste of money to get that, but the Apex packs were worth it because I think on like my 45th pack, when I had 45 packs left, probably like my 55th pack in. Oh my gosh, I can't English today. It's been a long day.
55
um,
5.
like
Going
55
hard.
packs in, I opened an heirloom and I was so hyped. I wish I was recording it. I was jumping up, I was running around the house, I was screaming, I got an heirloom. I was like a kid on Christmas, and I went through and I bought my first heirloom. Um, it was the first one I actually got out of Apex packs, aside from earning the Loba one from getting all the event packs there. So I got an heirloom and I bought Lifeline. Lifeline was the first character I really played as a lot when I first started, and I stuck
I
to
love
grinding with
Lifeline.
her. And it's my go-to. So
And
it's been an
what's his
interesting
name?
trip.
What's the guy that I got while we were playing?
Was it Mirage?
Yes, love Mirage. Mirage is my guy, everybody. I love Mirage.
He loves his Mirage. He loves it's like a Mirage or a Lifeline battle with him. It's like, do I want to play as Lifeline in this game or do I play as Mirage?
I
So it's
just
always
love they're
interesting.
both like very supporty and I love it.
Yeah. Lifeline, I definitely see has a lot more healing factors to her. It's definitely a lot better of a choice, I
Oh
would
yeah.
say personally, when it comes to heals. But we still got to train you up a bit. Still trying to get you in there. He started playing with us about a couple months ago, I think. Now, and
Yeah.
um, so lots happened there. I still jump on and grind Minecraft. There's a
Of
lot we have
course.
to talk about with. You can't. Hey, I've been playing Minecraft since pretty much. Oh, when did I start? I started playing back when you could still play when all the platforms were separated. Bedrock was Bedrock. It wasn't or not Bedrock. It was back when it was still Pocket Edition.
Oh yeah.
I actually started playing when Java actually still allowed you to do a demo world in the game.
I used to do that all the
So
time or like log on with no internet so that you could play for free.
yep. So I
That
played
was a
that a
big one.
lot back in those days, and I grinded out and got. I mean, for 100 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes. I mean, I did quite a lot. It was always the same world every time, so I always knew what I was doing. I was like, all right, relog the world, get materials. I know where I'm going, know what I'm doing. Every time I always started building a house immediately. I never went for iron or gold. I never went for resources. It was just I'm building a house. That's what we're doing. But I was
Yeah.
young. I didn't know what I was doing, so I still had a lot to figure out. But
Yeah,
still
we
wanted to
haven't
do it.
even what is the oh, cuz we shut down the Minecraft server on Bedrock for the time being. I can't even remember what that was called.
I remember that.
Uh, I can't
I
remember what
remember
it was
seeing that
called.
one day. I don't
Yeah.
know why you did that. It was world expansion.
World expansion, yes, which we'll still probably kick it up. It was just because we've been so busy, like nobody even logged in for the longest time. So I do have like the backup of all the world extension worlds because I downloaded them all to my Xbox. Um, but we just shut them down for the time being just because it was honestly just, sapping money out of the YouTube account with like nobody really logging on. Like me and you were the only ones that would occasionally hop on for like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
in good news, Vanilla Rewind still exists, the Java server. I recorded at least an episode or two on there that I'm sure everybody has watched.
On the one we have right now?
Yes, yeah. Well, not on the new one, but on
Ah.
previous world editions, I believe.
Yeah, I'm so upset because we ended up losing that world, which is really
Yes.
frustrating because we were playing that and eventually my PC, which we'll get into in a little bit, had died, and so I couldn't log on for a good like 4 or 5 months. I think it was. I think it died back in April and just got it back up like a month or two ago. So it
Yes.
had died for a while, and I just couldn't get it in, and
Yeah,
I
that
just
was a
couldn't get
big
it
thing
fixed.
too. Yeah, for a while there, that was a big thing too. Like I was, we were starting to get ready to come back to the podcast and everything, and then your computer died.
Yeah, we were gonna start it up again, and then all of a sudden my PC took a dump on me, and I had to get the part fixed. Which luckily it's still under warranty until January. So if anything else
Yes.
takes a dump on me, I can get it fixed easily. So
Yes. But that was another very fun part about our slow trying to crawl back into the podcast was obviously whenever your PC died, it was very hard to record anything on like our cell phones.
yeah, I can't do anything with my cell phone. I wouldn't work
Yeah.
all that well.
Yeah.
My laptop is just to a point where I need to update like the processor because it's pretty much shot at this point, which sucks because that's a really good laptop. I love taking it traveling. I had some worlds on there which I backed up and pulled over to my PC, which I
Oh,
played
that's
on. I
good.
grinded out a ton on my PC, and then all of a sudden my PC died. I had to send in the part, and of course the part that died on me was my SSD drive. So um,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I lost all of my stuff, which really sucked because I didn't make a backup of that world that I had before, and so at the time I just couldn't do anything. I
Yeah.
completely lost all the progress I made on that world. I'll have to go through and put my old world download from my laptop onto a flash drive and back it up into my PC again because I lost all of my stuff. I've lost just like a year of progress on that world, and it sucks because I had done so much building, so much mining, and it was just kind of frustrating because I put so much work into it. I was just starting to I had a project I was working on actually,
Uh-huh.
um that I was working on a new style for the end portal room. I
Oh.
just I spent I want to say I spent a good 20 hours digging it out and getting it set up because I was going to build a bunch of custom areas, different levels, and then all of a sudden my PC dies. I can't get it fixed for a while. I finally do, and I can't jump back in, and all that progress was lost,
Yeah.
and so that world was just. It's just frustrating because I like if I pull up the old save on my laptop, I don't even know where I'm gonna be at. Um,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be I'm gonna look at it and be like what do I do now? Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna know what to do at that point. So
Yeah. Yeah, sadly that happens. That's like it kind of sadly lined up with our with uh the loss of the server as well, like Vanilla Rewind. Sadly, as soon as your PC was starting to get fixed, I go to log on to Vanilla Rewind one day and it was just like not working, and then I was like, oh, like that's okay. I'll just go to the backup and I'll just restore from the backup. And I restored from the backup and it still doesn't work, and I was like, oh boy. And then sadly, after finagling for a good while, that world somehow got corrupted or lost at some point, which was crazy.
I think when we talked about it off the podcast a couple of weeks ago, you were talking about how the files actually had gotten corrupted, and so there was
Yeah,
just no way
because
to access it.
we switched versions without knowing that it was going to cause issues. We usually use paper on that server, so everybody knows, and that's just it's vanilla, but it has optimizations in it to just make the server run a little bit more smooth, so that you don't have as many issues with like item drops and mob problems and stuff like that. Um, but whenever we're on 19 now, right? Whenever
Yeah,
1.9
119.
Yes. Whenever 1.19 came out, paper is usually really good about versions except for major versions. Usually on major versions it'll take like up to a week for them to release the paper version of it. So I was like, well, I can just switch it to 1.19 so that me and Trevor can play on it and then switch back. And when we switched it to 1.19, it was working totally fine. But then I switched it back after Trevor's PC was having issues again and everything like that. But the new paper version came out, so I was like, oh, I'll just switch it and play on it, blah, blah, blah. And it was totally fine for the longest time, but eventually for some reason some wires got crossed between switching it between those versions, and then it just didn't want to function anymore. So now we're just going to have to hard commit to staying on paper releases and not playing around.
Yeah, I think and actually 1.19, that update actually came out when my PC was still not fixed yet, so I didn't even get to play it for a good like I want to say 2 months, because when was it released? Was it back in June or July?
It was a hot minute ago. I don't know the exact date, but definitely it's been out for a hot minute because the
Yeah, it's
new
been out for a
world that
little
we
while.
have was only 1.19, and I know that we've had that for at least a month because I have like a month of progress on the new one.
We definitely have more than a month onto it, because I know you were on it for a good probably three weeks before I jumped. I finally could jump in, and
Yeah.
I jumped in and I spawned next to a village, which isn't terrible. I had him send
Yeah.
me his cords because he built a base or a house a little far out from the village. I just kind of stuck in the village. I took all the villagers and had put them into little areas so I could create a villager trading hall, which actually I need to. I'm gonna try and probably get more villagers. Probably help them migrate to from another village, because I know where a few villages are actually, which is kind of handy. I'm gonna have to migrate a few of those villagers from a different village to my village, because I've actually lost quite a few of them to dying. Some of them just drown, like up and drown themselves when I was trying to create
Uh,
a iron farm. Some of them just up and drown themselves. I was like, what are you doing? It was frustrating, dude. I tell you, it
yeah.
was so frustrating.
You'll have to
Um,
record with some episodes on the server, even, because I'm sure that would be fun. Sure, everybody would
yeah,
like to see your creative process.
I've debated doing some live streams, and I just haven't gotten to that point yet. It's like every time I jump on, I just jump on. I throw like YouTube or Spotify on in the background, and I'll just throw something on and just zone out and play for a while.
Yeah.
And I just completely forget. And it's like right now, I've actually found. I know there's one song here. I don't know if I play it, if the audio will pick up. Um, but when it just dropped not too long ago, and I had saved it because it's a good song. It's by Josh A, and he put it out, and on the video itself that he released, he doesn't do like music videos or anything. He does like lyrics videos or whatever. He
Uh huh.
actually did put it out, so when you go to listen to it, it is free use without having to use any sort of copyright signals or anything. He put
Oh.
at the big so he put at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna try and load it up. It says right here, if you go and click on it, the song just dropped September 15th. I love Josh A, so huge shout out to him.
Yeah,
I've
I was
been
about to
listening
say
to
it
his
even
music for
dropped like the
years.
name song or the
Yeah.
name of the song, Doy.
So the name of the song's Out the Grave. Um, it's a pretty good song,
Oh,
and
okay.
when you first load up the song, it actually says the first like immediately before the song even starts. This song is free to use for your videos and content. So huge shout out to him. I absolutely love his music. I've been listening to his music for a long time, and I really hope he can drop more songs like this. It's just I like if we could like I would love for the podcast to grow to a point where we can start reaching out to like a lot of different music artists or even find some that are more or even some local ones, some friends. I know I have a friend who he really wants to start a band, and I mean he's in his late 20s. Who doesn't want to start a band? I thought about it when I was a kid, but he's in his late 20s. He wants to start singing and stuff. So
Yeah.
if I can try and get a software where I can create an audio clip or audio, like create my own audio in the background. I could try and see if I can get him to sing and really do some touch ups and get it lined up. And I think that would be awesome. I could probably get some use out of that. I could give him some, if we can eventually start getting making money off of this, that we could put into stuff. We can pitch in some. We can throw some towards him as like a thank you for letting us use your
Yeah,
song.
absolutely.
Um, but I would love to be able to like anytime we upload a new video or a podcast, anytime we have the freedom to actually go through and use their music, use his music, just throw him some money, be like, this is a thank you so much for like recording it and allowing us to use it. Like I'd leave links and everything in my videos to like where it's uploaded. Probably would be to his Spotify or Apple Music, whatever he chooses. But it just would
Yeah.
be so awesome to have some of that background music that is, custom or free, and it's just awesome. So I would honestly love for that to happen one of these times.
Oh yeah, and that's a huge thing that I like doing too. Like we've always supported. Originally on the podcast we had oh frick, I can't remember what they were. There's a really Epidemic Sound. They have a very nice like library that we use whenever the podcast first opened. Um oh stream.
Yeah, so
But
I have no clue how well this is gonna work. I kind of just I went into Discord here because we kind of so when we record, to those of you who are new, we record our audio using a kind of like a third party thing. So we record our audio that way, and we still talk to each other normally through Discord. That way, we have our clear audio, and it just kind of works out better for us. Um,
yeah.
says it's still running, which is kind of
Yeah, and
frustrating.
I'll even make a note on our recording time currently just in case they can't hear it through Zencaster. And I'll just dub it over our voices in the post production just in case it doesn't. So you can still play it right now and we can listen to it real quick while I do that
Yeah,
intro.
Discord's being a little strange, so I don't know. I don't think you can actually hear it right now, can you?
I could it your stream just stopped, but I could hear it before it stopped there.
Oh, I had ended it because I didn't think it was working.
Yeah,
I'll
it
try
was,
it
yeah.
again. So can you actually like see the video? Because I can't like on my side I can't see the video.
Yeah, I can see the video, yep.
Really? Oh, it still says
Mm-hmm.
it's running. Um, but yeah, you can kind of see everything there. It says, start of the video. It says, oh Jesus.
This song is free
It
to use for any videos and content.
Yep. So it is a free song, which is really handy. So I would definitely suggest going and listening to it. If we can put it in at post after recording, it'd be awesome. I really
Yeah, I
love the
will.
song. I just absolutely love the song. It's such a good song. His songs are definitely like a bit more bass boosted, I would say.
Yeah. Real
Um,
quick in the chat, send the link for it too, so I can put it in the show notes.
I will try and do that quick. I'm just gonna send it to your personal one.
Oh yeah, that works too. Yeah.
It should send. Yep. All right, it's sent. So that should be pretty
Perfect.
good.
Yeah, I'll
But
just put
I
it in the
honestly
chat
would
here.
recommend going and listening to it. It is free on Spotify, YouTube. Apple Music. It is free, like about anywhere you can listen to music. So if you have not listened to this song, if you've never heard Josh A, I would definitely recommend listening to him. I know it's not necessarily a taste for every single person, but I would definitely recommend him personally. Um, I don't even remember. I think one day I was just kind of listening to Spotify through my Discovery Weekly because I like to go in that and see what new songs I can find. And one of his popped up one day, and I just really liked the artist, and I just started listening to his music, and I just kind of stuck with it because I really like his music. He's got a lot of good songs. A lot of it I felt relatable to, and that's really helped me a lot. And
Yeah.
it's just I've always been able to throw it on, jam out, understand exactly what's going on, understand the lyrics, relate to them. It's just always been the last couple of years have been a very big struggle between COVID being a thing and really ruining everything, gaming being super tough, music has been very tough to listen to. You get sick and tired of some of those same songs over and over that the radio plays.
Yeah.
Um, when I found him, it was a new like style of music to me. Well, I wouldn't say a new style, but it was a new artist to listen to that really just kind of clicked with me, and I really loved it, and I knew I had to keep listening, so I kept listening, and I found there were so many songs that were just awesome, and I just stuck with it. So
Yeah, it's a new like creative take on a style of music that you already enjoy.
yeah, I definitely there's a lot of songs that it's there's a lot of different music. Like my music taste is very dependent on the day or the time of the year. When Christmas rolls around, I'm not typically the kind of person that starts listening to Christmas music personally.
Uh-huh.
There'll be a few songs every once in a while that they're somewhat holiday themed. They're pretty
You gotta
good.
love the classic Mariah Carey.
I mean, I respect it. I'm not a big Christmas music person, so I personally don't go for that much. But when I game,
Yeah.
I know I like to listen to something that I can vibe to and that just kind of gives me that gaming feeling. And when I listen to his music, it just really gave me that feeling of like, this is good music to listen to when I'm gaming because it's good music. You can put it on in the background, and
Yeah.
it really doesn't interfere with a whole lot. Like some songs, it's like you just kind of stop and pause your game, or you get so focused more on the song. And with his, it's like you can really put it on in the background anywhere, and it's so easy to just have there, enjoy listening to it, and it doesn't cause as much of a distraction. So I've always just really loved his music for that. It's just always been such a good go-to to really be able to not have to worry about a whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know even for our podcast, I try to keep a little bit more like a modern music. So I usually try to use some kind of like a nice pop or whatever for the intro and transitions and stuff. But even there, I try to pick a song or style that's like tasteful that even people that maybe aren't into pop or anything like that will still like appreciate, and it won't like annoy them as the opener for our podcast or the transition and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing I like about his music is it's like it's supposed to be like rap, which I know I love. Like I like to go for rap. I listen to like older rap music because some of that older stuff is a little better to listen to.
Yeah.
Um, which isn't bad, and I love his music because it's got like the bass boosted that a lot of people I know nowadays love. They'll crank the bass in your car, your headphones, and you just crank the bass and enjoy it. And
Oh,
his
absolutely.
has that bass boost, but it also has that rap style that it just combines very well. Where it doesn't like I don't know, it just clicks so well. I don't even know how to describe it. I feel like I have so much that it's just I could just go on and talk about it for so long, and I don't want to do that because we have a podcast we got to keep going here.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. That is really cool, and like I hope that we get to support more artists like that. Even as the podcast grows, honestly, the worst thing about whenever we had to stop the podcast was just that we were starting to grow so well. So I hope that that growth can continue as we restart the podcast here, and we can maybe even work with artists like that, like you were talking about before, working with artists like that to feature on podcast episodes or feature their music on the podcast and link back to all the hard work and stuff that they do. um, I just think that that's a very important part of like our growth. Even as gaming people, it's very important that we feature and talk about music, because music can make or break some games. Some games like Life is Strange and even honestly Minecraft, their soundtracks are like so iconic and like make part they're part of the reason that the game is so popular and big, you know?
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's one thing is like a lot of people don't realize it's like you. A lot of people they'll just throw on like a gaming playlist, for songs that you'd listen to that you probably more than likely listen to in gaming, and you don't think about it. And it's like you got to really think like all these big time streamers that put music on in the background. I mean, um, you don't really think of that music, but what they're doing is they're actually promoting that person's music because eventually, if you go back
Yeah.
and you rewatch a video from, let's say, like you watched a video from like a month ago, um, and like, or you watched it a month ago, and it just popped up in your head today, and it's like you go back, you rewatch it. At that point, you've already seen it, so you know what's going to happen. But you start listening and hearing more of the background stuff. You start to listen and hear the music. You hear all the extra side noises. You hear all the work that is put into actually creating this video that you watch, or like even live streams. Like I know a lot of people's live streams, they'll have interactive like music where you can kind of go through a playlist that they have set up and actually play the song.
Oh
Now a lot of
yes,
that
yeah.
is now a lot of that is like it's very copyright based. So a lot of these people are really trying to like they try to be very picky on what they pick because they need to really be cautious of I have to really watch because I can't play anything copyrighted or my video is going to get taken down. My stream is going to lose
Yeah.
its audio. Like you have to
Yeah.
really be cautious with some of that stuff. And the fact that he said that in the video at the beginning of the video, he said that that song is for free use for anyone and everyone for video and content of any sorts. It's just a great thing. I saw that video and I think I listened to it the day it dropped.
Yeah.
um, like I think it dropped and it was out for like 25 minutes, and I listened to it and I was like I listened to it almost immediately when it dropped, pretty much, and I just went on YouTube like I normally do when I get home or when I wake up. I'll go on YouTube and I'll just listen. I'll just go through and start watching whatever's new and or listen to music, and it's just music is such a big part of everything. I don't think a whole lot of people understand like music really is a major part of like everything you do. I mean, every video game you play is going to have its own custom music. Everywhere you go, you can make music out of smacking a tree with a stick. Like you can create a whole song out of that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
music
There's
is
even
about
like funny
everything.
videos of like artists doing stuff like that, like knocking on a door and then remixing it and making like a hit 500 song out of something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I was actually on TikTok today, and a guy took two songs. He took like some Irish song and mixed it with I'm trying to think of what the song is. It's like I think it's like the sea shanty song or something where maybe it's not Irish, but it like gives you like that Irish feel to it or whatever. I don't
Like a
remember.
jig.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like when I hear that song, I think of like, oh, it's like an Irish kind of theme, kind of like the way the song is sung. And he mixed it with the song Bad and Bougie. And it's like, those are two completely different songs, two completely different genres that they fit under. And, it's just amazing what you can do, like with the power of editing. And if you really line things up properly, I mean, it was so good. Like, it was actually insane how well that those songs mixed together when he mixed them. It was just
Hmm.
wild. Like, you'd never think that those two songs would actually work together. Like if I can find the video, I will send it to you later so you can check it out for yourself. But it was just wild to actually be able to see that. There's a lot of things that you don't realize when or like think of until it's like, what if I do this? You got to really think. And I think if we can really grow to higher limits where we can, we start getting a fan base that comes back and starts watching our stuff every week or sharing it, and we can
Yeah.
really give back to like our community, give back to the people that watch us, thank them. I would definitely want to look out for the people that are just starting or trying to and try and promote some of their stuff. I want to find smaller artists. We're small time YouTubers and streamers. We're still trying to make our break, and it's very tough right now because the industry is so difficult.
I am pivoting off of that. I think that it is about time in the podcast for us to pivot to our favorite section, which is this week we have a mini news section because we don't want to take too much time away from us just recapping and getting back to the audience. So let's look at some of these little news stories real quick here before we get too
I
off topic.
I went off. I think I went off topic a little much there, talking about this whole thing, and yeah, I definitely went off topic a little bit there, but you know, there's a lot with it, so
Yeah. But so let's get to some fun news for this week, just because we only have a mini news section, so it shouldn't take us too long to get through these. Um,
yeah.
so first and foremost, I don't have much of an opinion of an opinion on this one because I did not play this game that much. But Overwatch 2 has come out now, and we were looking at open critic reviews and some other places about it. Now, surprisingly, critic wise, Overwatch 2 has actually been acclaimed pretty well. On Open Critic, they're giving it a 78 out of 100, which gives it a very strong critic review. Um, Now, from players, though, we've been hearing a few different stories. And I know Trevor has a little bit. Trevor hasn't gotten to play Overwatch 2 yet, but Trevor does have like friends and other people that he knows that play Overwatch 2. Um, so I do know that you do have a little bit of an opinion on it so far, Trevor, because you have heard a few things. So what have you heard about Overwatch 2 so far since its rollout?
So I guess with Overwatch 2, I played Overwatch back when it was just normal Overwatch 1. I haven't played it since, I want to say, back in May, but I have um some other reasons why I haven't really played Overwatch much. I love the game. I really do. It's a fun game to play. It's super easy. It's super simple. It's definitely a team game. So if you queue up with like five other randoms or four, or like depending on whatever game you play, you queue up with a bunch of random people.
Uh huh.
If you guys aren't all working as a team, it doesn't really work that well. Like some games, like Call of Duty, you could go off and drop like a 40 bomb and your team would win. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it, like this is a very team based game because it's more objective based. You really have to play the objective in the game to actually be able to win. And I've always loved Overwatch, but I've heard some good reviews from I have one friend that plays it. He actually lives downstairs, and he said it's a pretty good game. He likes it. But I've heard that there's actually quite a few reviews. Someone I just saw a review today that they nerfed one of the healing characters a lot.
Uh huh.
So she actually does like 75% less damage now, which is an
Oh.
absolute kind of joke because I think from what I've seen, she's the only one that's been like nerfed that badly, which really sucks because like her some of her abilities, I don't know how to say her name. I think it's like Miora or something like that. Moria. I don't know. I always said Moria because that just kind of made sense to me, but I think it's like Miora or something like that. I don't know how to say her
Oh,
name
okay.
properly. She's a healing character, and essentially she could shoot two like energy balls. One would you could shoot it towards the enemies and it would damage them.
Uh
And
huh.
if you shot a healing one towards them, it wouldn't do anything. You could use the healing one for your teammates and yourself. The healing one doesn't do much healing anymore. It doesn't heal as much as it used to. And the energy ball doesn't do as much damage as it used to. Like it used to do quite a lot, but they nerfed it a little too much. Where I saw someone was going through and they read the game update and they were looking at it and was like, this is a joke." And they sat there. Um, I mean, they changed the mechanics of how their stuff works, and now it doesn't bounce off of floors or walls, which it's kind of nice. But I kind of use that as like an advantage. Get a couple
Yeah.
extra ticks of damage, which was nice. Or send it towards enemies or friends and heal them to keep them going for a little longer, or even keep them alive to be able to win their little battle. And
Oh,
it just
absolutely.
seems
Yeah.
like it's just like kind of a joke now because some of their stuff, like they went to shoot an energy ball at someone, and now their damage one, if it hits an enemy, it actually like the enemy actually takes the energy ball, the like damage ball,
Oh, okay.
and it actually hits them and breaks on them and does damage. But it's kind of dumb because it does like a small sliver of health. Like
Oh, okay.
before, it wasn't. I don't even think it was overpowered before. Before you'd shoot it and it would bounce around enemies and it would drain their life force. But as it's draining their life, it's also getting smaller, so it's not overly powered. And it was to a point where it's like it drains it a little bit, but it doesn't do anything terrible. And it's just, I saw it and someone was testing it out, and it's like he just sat there and laughed. The guy just sat there and laughed at it because he looked at it and was like, "This is a total joke. Like, there's no like they need to revert this because this is like." He just sat like he couldn't even have the words to describe it. It was just kind of
Oh,
terrible
okay.
the way they did it. So, I was watching it. I was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of um on the subject of that, so we're super excited about Overwatch 2. Speaking of consoles and stuff though, Logitech also brought out a new streaming console, which is kind of exciting. I want to find its exact name here, but it is the Oh, here we go. The Logitech G Cloud Gaming, and its whole focus is that it does game streaming. So it has like a Snapdragon chip in it and 64 gigabytes of onboard memory and a nice 1080p 7-inch display. And its whole thing is that you can stream both Xbox Game Pass for PC and Xbox Cloud games, and in the future, Steam and GeForce games on NVIDIA GeForce. So
I'm not
that
sure how
is
much I like it.
I am very intrigued in it. Definitely click on that news story and take a peek at like the actual console. I think
I
it looks
am
kind of
right
cool.
now.
Oh, okay. I
See,
think it looks kind of cool.
I like the idea, but looking at it, I don't think I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna be a bad kind of rep because I feel like you know, has it dropped yet or is it still
Yeah,
yet to
it's already
drop?
in hands.
Okay, I'm just more worried about Logitech. Like I wouldn't want them to get like sued or anything because it looks pretty much like the Nintendo Switch. Like the
Oh, well,
Switch
yeah,
Lite.
everybody. Yeah. Yeah,
But
everybody
I mean,
compared it to that.
I mean, at the same time, you gotta. I kind of look at it, and it's like I don't really think like Nintendo really has a right to kind of like if they did try to sue, I don't think they'd have the right because if you think about it, I know a lot of people probably don't know what it is, but the Nintendo Switch actually looks like a newer version of a PSP.
Yeah, and like Valve also has their Stream Deck that they brought out not too long ago, which is same thing. It looks very similar to the Switch OLED and the Logitech G.
Yeah, so it's just like it gives me such a Switch vibe, but at the same time,
But
like
that's
I don't
almost what
know.
we're moving towards.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want to play like those handheld games and stuff like that. This I would think you'd want to hook up like if you want to play it on your TV, I would hope it has a docking station of some sorts or some sort of way you can plug it into your TV and play it off that way or hook up a controller to it so you can play, you could set it up, hook it up to a TV, play it off of that. So, I would hope they do something similar to that. I don't know. I guess it's super new, so I can't really like I'm not gonna hate on it. I do like the idea. It does look cool. I like the design. Um, I'm not sure how much of a fan. I would hope they would have other colors than just white because white isn't bad, but at the same time, like with white consoles and anything white based, you come home if there's any sort of dirt on your hands, it's gonna get that console or system dirty, and let's be real, none of us like seeing that. You sit
Yeah.
there and you spend half an hour cleaning it and make it look all nice, and the next day it's got fingerprints all over it again or hand marks because it's white. I like
Yeah.
the idea and the look of white controllers and stuff like that, but it's like it just doesn't stay white because it gets dirty super quick.
And the thing is, even though the interesting side quip that some reviewers had is that they're kind of mad that it doesn't have any cellular options because they said it would actually be really cool if you could like be off the out of the house with it. Um, but in that same zone, even though it is a streaming console, you could still always hook it up to a phone hotspot. And so that is what one reviewer said whenever they were reviewing it, is they said like the only thing with it be only having a white option as of right now. Obviously, they could always add more options in the future as a soft refresh or just as a way to add more options. Even right now, if you take this thing out on the go or outside, that white is not going to help it while you're traveling around because it's going to rub against your bag and rub off. And then, like you said, if you get dirty hands or if it's just dirty outside, because sometimes it just gets dusty, especially now that we're moving towards winter, it gets drier. So, yeah, that's a legitimate complaint that a lot of people has. I believe I'll double check right now, but I believe it only comes in white as of right now.
Well, yeah, and it is brand new, so there's still a lot that they have to update with it. I'm kind of just looking about some of the specs with it. It does have Bluetooth 5.1, which is actually I think the highest variability of Bluetooth.
I
I'm not
think it
sure.
I think you can have 5.2, but 5.1 is,
Still pretty
same thing.
high.
Yeah, very very
Um,
new. Yeah.
It does have a 3.5 millimeter headset jack, so you could plug in, I think, even a PC headset to it. You can plug in headphones to it. I mean, it'll work with all that stuff, which is really handy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
USB C, which I really like. I like that a lot of places and a lot of like, anything you charge has USB C. The USB C batteries, in my opinion, the last two phones I've had, the current one I'm on and the one I had previous, are both USB C. The
Oh,
battery
okay.
life lasts a really long time, which is really nice. Um, and for a lot of people that don't actually realize, you can plug USB C directly into your device and then plug it. Like, if I wanted to play this game, if I hooked up, considering it has USB C, if I wanted to, I could probably plug it directly into a TV that has a um, like a jack for it, like what are they called? The USB
The
jacks that you.
HDMI.
No, 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 no. It's so like when you have a cord, you have the jack that plugs into like a brick that you plug into a wall. You have that.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, the nice thing with that is like if you have a TV or a monitor or something that has that capability that you can plug that directly into, you can plug
Oh,
that
yeah.
USB C directly into your device and run
Yeah.
it through that, or even just run a double sided USB C into your devices and just run it off of that. And actually, that is pretty much like an HDMI as it is. USB C is really nice because you don't have to plug it in one way or the other. It plugs in upside down or straight up. Like it plugs in either way, which is super nice. The battery life lasts a
Yes.
really long time. Um, like my phone, I go on it quite frequently.
Uh-huh.
I crank like when I go out like for work, I'll go outside, enjoy the weather while I can before snow comes because it's right around the corner. It's getting cold out.
I know it was already like
Um,
37 this morning here in Pennsylvania, and I was like, "Oh
oh,
my gosh."
it
I was like,
was
"We're starting to inch too close here."
I think it was like a high of 54 degrees here in South Dakota, in the part of South Dakota I'm in. But we had 30-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
It
so
was
your guys' wind chill was
wild.
probably right down there.
It was about mid 40s. It was really
Yeah.
high winds and it rained and everything, but it was just wild.
The only other
But
thing I don't like about it is it being $350. Like that's enough to get. I think a Switch OLED
um
is $299.
actually right here I'm looking at the website you put in post, and
Uh-huh.
it actually is selling on Amazon for $300. So,
Yeah, that's right now. It's like $299 most places, but if you go on Logitech's website, its normal MSRP is supposed to be $350. But even on Logitech's website, they have it discounted to $299 right now. Um, but even like
oh,
a
if you okay, so if, on Amazon, sorry, it's
mm-hmm.
normally 350, but if you pre-order from Logitech or Amazon before 10/17, you can get it
Oh,
for
okay.
$300. So it actually hasn't dropped yet.
Oh
It is
yeah,
on.
so it must
It's
only be reviewers.
so 10/17 is when it drops. Because it is still in pre-order right now. That's
Yeah.
okay. That makes yeah, I'm just kind of looking at some of the information on their on this website here.
And even like Logitech, like I'm
Yeah.
looking at at Nintendo's website real quick, and like yeah, the Switch OLED is $350. And I feel like the very hard thing is that the Switch OLED is $350, and yeah, it won't play all the games that this will because a lot of the streaming games are too difficult to like run on a Nintendo Switch. Even though they do have Doom and Fallout, I believe they have Fallout 4 on the Switch right now and Doom. So the Switches are getting more advanced, but the nice thing is that you can play like all the games natively on Switch. The only thing that I don't like about this the G Cloud is it's so odd that it's only streaming, because even with that Snapdragon processor, you think it would be able to at least play like Minecraft natively.
So
So
I
it's
don't think
very
it's only streaming.
well for right now, at least on the reviews that I was watching, it's only like streaming services for the moment.
Well, they have a micro SD thing, which makes it seem like they're gonna have those same chips that Switch has, and I think they're gonna have they probably are gonna work with Nintendo a bit to allow Switch games to be played on it.
Yeah,
Um, I
possibly.
would
Yeah.
otherwise they're just gonna talk to those gaming companies and re-release new versions for their device. But
Yeah.
I think at the moment, yeah, it'll be just streaming only, but I don't think it's going to be like that for long, because if it releases on the 17th, which is what that's that,
About 5
calendars,
days away.
that's next Monday. That'd be next
Yeah.
Monday for, well, from the time we're recording right now, that's next Monday. I
Yes.
don't know when this podcast will be out, but it's not going to be terrible. I think before Christmas time they'll
Oh,
have
actually, the day that this podcast releases, it'll be out because I think that we're going to do Monday releases. So,
yeah, so I think by that time, by I think probably even by Black Friday, because that's just over a month away.
yeah.
I think they'll have those micro USB games to plug in. They'll have games you can plug in and play that way. That way you can
Yeah.
take something on the go. Like if you want to play Minecraft and you don't have a Switch but you have this, you could plug in Minecraft and play that on like a 2 hour car trip somewhere.
Yeah, and the only. Oh, sorry, continue.
I was just say, yeah, I don't think you can't create a device that's for streaming only. If it's meant for gaming, like game streaming, you just can't create a device that's game streaming only.
Yeah.
It won't last long. You got to have that ability to plug and play, because if you go offline, you're gonna want something to play, and you can't stream it because not everyone can afford to pay for unlimited data. And I mean, even if you can, after a certain amount of time, your data slows down if you go through
Oh,
enough of
yeah.
it. And so it's like you really like at that point you just can't do much. So you'd have to have that plug and play. Plus, sometimes I mean, if you don't have data when you travel, I mean, sometimes it's nice to just have that ability to still play.
Yeah.
I would think it wouldn't be much of an issue. They might even make it so that Switch games are readable as it is when it releases, are already going to be readable when you play it.
Yeah, and that'll be a lot on Nintendo. You know how they are. I'm sure they won't be supported right off the bat probably on Monday, just because usually Nintendo is not known for being the most cooperative company ever. But I
Well,
think
they're
that that
not
definitely
US
could be a
based.
yeah.
A lot of companies that release a lot of the major stuff are US based companies, which, I think Nintendo's what?
China, I
Oh,
believe.
Chinese, I want to say. I
Yeah, I believe
like
so.
I don't remember where Nintendo is based out of. So they're not going to be. I know some of their stuff takes a bit of time to switch over as well.
Yeah.
And I think Chinese company, I think Nintendo, since it's Chinese, they have to get approval from their government first. Because I know
Yeah, usually
China,
China's
like,
government's pretty locked down.
yeah, Chinese governments, they have to get approval beforehand, which, it kind of sucks, but, that's the way they run. So I'm not going to diss on them. I mean, they have some pretty great games. I mean, the Mario and all that stuff. I mean, they still release that stuff and it's awesome. So,
Yeah, and all of the they have like the capitalization on all of the like fantasy games like Final Fantasy and all those kind of games too,
Yeah, I mean,
which
yeah,
is a good
that's
thing.
you got to
The
realize like that.
JRPG.
That's why it takes a little longer to release in the U.S. compared to other other places around the world because it's a bit more, they have to ship it over, and also like they have to approve, like, will allow the U.S. players to be able to have access to this game. It's
Yeah.
I mean, like, some games around the world that are U.S. based are banned, but some by the same company aren't. It's entirely based off of what country allows what.
Yes, yeah. But so that streaming deck is pretty exciting. We'll see how it turns out. I'm very intrigued by it. Even if it would be stream only, it would be very interesting. I just think
I,
that there definitely is like they definitely need to make it at least be able to play like ARM games, because since it's running on a Snapdragon, it's running on like an ARM chip. So I know that Minecraft, at least, because Minecraft runs on mobile, obviously, so they support ARM natively. And so I'm sure there's other game makers that have games on multiple platforms that have developed for ARM before. So even if we can just get those kind of games running natively, I think that would be a big win for them.
I do like kind of looking at some of their stats though. That they do have. It comes with the NVIDIA GeForce, which I'll talk more about that when I talk more into my PC. But I know they have NVIDIA GeForce is actually really good graphics. It's really good graphics. I really like it. So I'll talk more about that when I get in talking about my PC as well.
Yeah, and
About
I
like
think
that
for
whole
them it's
NVIDIA.
the I think that they use I think what they're talking about in that article is GeForce, the streaming service, which is also very good because it does run on like all of Nvidia's GPUs, but it's like another cloud service like Game Pass.
Yeah. I think one thing is like they can't. I think one thing that really stands out when you look at some of their stats is it does say that it has 64 gigabytes of memory, which indicates to me that you're going to be allowed, that you are going to be able to download games. They'll probably have their own like
Yeah, at
little
some
app
point at
store that you
least.
can buy and download games from, because
Yeah.
I would see why they wouldn't do that. I think they're just trying to get some. They have it set to Monday, and they're just waiting on approval from a few other games. They have an initial release date, try and get approval from some games so they can put some stuff out. So when people buy it and actually get it, they have those games out and they can play them right away.
Yeah, and they might even have stuff ready by Black Friday because obviously it'll be out Monday. So then at least by Monday, games will start cranking on working to get to support it at least. So hopefully by like Black Friday and Christmas, there will maybe be a few games on their roster.
I would definitely say by Black Friday at the latest, there's going to
Yeah.
be a bunch of games, because that's when the best time to buy is. Which actually, I disagree with that, because I would say the best time to buy is closer to Christmas, because stuff goes lower on sale.
Oh yes, yeah.
It definitely depends on what you buy though as well. Like, um, gaming stuff will probably be on sale then, but probably won't be towards Christmas time. Some stuff is on sale and goes cheaper during, like, around closer to Christmas time rather than Black Friday. So it's always a matter of like time and what it is that you're buying. But I would definitely say
Yeah.
Black Friday would be a good time to buy games, when if they release some games for this. But we'll have to keep an eye on this for sure, and
Yeah.
see what releases and try and keep you guys updated.
Yeah, and next podcast it'll be released by the time that we record it. So we'll definitely probably touch back on and see the actual like in people's hands reviews instead of just reviewers.
Yeah, we'll
Uh
try and give you guys some updates on it.
Absolutely. Pivoting on the ARM thing, though, also Xbox announced that their game streaming app on Windows 10 and 11 will now be supporting ARM chips natively, which I only included this in our stories for the nerds out there. But that's very exciting because ARM is a huge thing now. All of the Macs from Apple are only on ARM chips now. They switched over to like their own silicon, and a lot of Windows PCs are slowly switching over to ARM year by year because Qualcomm is making desktop chips now, and I know that Intel's even starting to look at maybe making some ARM processors themselves. So that's kind of an exciting evolution. That's Windows 11 also supports ARM natively, so it was inevitable that they were going to start doing some stuff. But I think that's exciting. Not the biggest deal as of right now, but I think it just says a lot about where the ARM architecture is going, because Apple kind of like started that bigger transition, and so now everybody else is starting to like slowly join that race. And so maybe even eventually we'll have an ARM console. And the nice thing about ARM chips as of right now is ARM chips are like they run much cooler than x86 chips, which are what we usually use in computers. And since they run so much cooler and so much more efficiently, theoretically we could get consoles that dispersed half the heat but had double the performance. And it's a lot cheaper because companies like Apple have been using ARM since the iPhone 4S, and so
I want to definitely say, yeah, it kind of ties into the Logitech with their system and how they're running it.
oh, I
I would
didn't even
definitely,
think about that. That's probably why they did that. Was so the
yeah,
Xbox Cloud streaming app on that console can run natively. I didn't
yep.
even
So it'll definitely
realize.
tie into that a lot better, which it kind of ties with that, and I think it'll definitely, we're moving. I mean, since I want to say the mid to late 2000s, like, you know, gaming has really, like, all the gaming and PC stuff has really, like, we've had such a quick and fast breakthrough, and everything has been upgrading so quick and fast that it's like, eventually we're going to be to a point where we're pretty much going to be playing video games in a sense of similarity to the movie Ready Player One. I would feel like eventually.
Oh,
I mean, have
yeah.
you seen that movie?
Yes, but side quote real quick. The reason that they announced that today was, remember I said, okay guys, so this is a little behind the scenes of what we were talking about before the podcast. Remember that I said I got an email about Microsoft releasing the new Surfaces?
Yeah.
Well, one of the Surfaces has a Microsoft made ARM chip. So they made their own ARM chip called the Microsoft SQ3 processor. And so now they support cloud gaming on ARM natively because some of their new PCs that they just released have ARM processors in them.
I think that's also partially to do with the fact that there's like COD mobile, there's Apex Legends mobile, so there's like
Yeah,
all these
now
mobile
those would be
games,
able to
so
run. Yeah.
those will probably run a little better. I mean, I had COD mobile ran pretty well on my phone. Apex Mobile is, I played it in the early release,
Uh huh.
the earlier releases of it. I'm sure it's updated quite a lot now since I've played it last, so I haven't touched it in a while. So I'm sure it runs a lot better. But when I played it, it was, it still ran pretty decently, but it was kind of laggy. So there's still a lot of bugs to work out. But with
Yeah.
mobile games, there's a lot of bugs you have to really account for, and a lot of
Oh,
like
absolutely. Yeah.
movement and a lot of those other side things where it's really tough to keep it going.
But so that's really exciting too. So yeah, and the nice thing about ARM chips too is like the reason that they're doing ARM chips on these new Surface devices is because ARM chips can more easily communicate with cellular chips. So all of the Surface Pros that have an ARM chip in them also support 5G, so you can add a cellular plan to the computer. So that kind of makes me sad about this console though, because now I'm like, okay, this Logitech G really came out at the wrong time, because if they maybe would have waited a little bit longer, they might have offered something like that. And now that is a game changer, a console that can be always connected to the internet. Now that would be something to talk about.
Well, I think they're getting it out now because actually, I think today, right now, is actually a good time to release it because with how fast technology is advancing in terms of like the gaming industry,
Yeah.
it's definitely like you get it out now. You probably get some people that they'll want to you get some ads out if you can really get it selling in a good fashion. What's going to end up happening is you're going to be able to take a lot of that money and put it towards upgrades and actually getting it to work really well and get it to a point where you actually want it to be at.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully if they don't end up supporting cellular on this version of this G Logitech G Pad or G Cloud, um definitely next one, because now that I'm seeing that even Microsoft is doing cellular on their computers, that's definitely an opportunity, because even switches are the same way. Like switches don't have any cellular options. If I could get like a cellular switch where I could be always online on the go, even for whatever, because like I know T-Mobile, we all know that I used to work there. Even like T-Mobile for fully unlimited data, it would be like $80 or more. But you know what? For $80 a month to be like fully on the go and maybe even have like a mobile hotspot then, because the console could probably do a hotspot or whatever then, that's a pretty like being able to game anywhere. I'm kind of here for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've tried gaming on hotspots. It doesn't. It's very like it gets really laggy really quickly because it's really trying to process a lot.
Yeah, and that's
But
why though, if
it's
there was
definitely
cellular like
interesting.
built in, it might run a lot better than like being tethered to a hotspot. You know what I mean?
I think rather than we have all this gaming stuff is updating so fast. We need our internet speeds and our mobile data to really upgrade
Oh
quite a
no,
lot
that's a
more.
whole different conversation. Yeah, we definitely need America's like one of the slowest countries for hardwired internet. Like our home internet is
Yeah,
like the slowest in the world. Our cellular actually isn't too bad across the world. Like our speeds are a lot better than like in most of Canada and stuff, which is really cool. But so cellular isn't as bad. Cellular still definitely needs fixed up because T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon are all very lazy sometimes. Um, but like home internet wise, the US really needs to get its game turned up to an 11.
yeah. So I mean, I know we're on to 5G now, which runs pretty well, but there just needs to be a massive upgrade where you don't get as many issues with playing games and stuff. It's just online gaming is blowing up faster than anything else, and it has,
Yeah, and
and
it's a
it
lot of
just
latency problems. Like a lot of like the cell towers and stuff just have such high latency, and it's like I don't even know why because they all honestly it all goes back to home internet because if you think about it, like cell towers connect to the internet by hardwire, and so the problem is if those hardwire connections aren't very strong, then all the cell reception and everything like that just can't really be that strong. You know what I mean?
yeah, there's just a lot that needs to be upgraded and updated
Yeah,
to a good point, and it's just not everybody wants to do it. It's like, all right, I'm gonna
yeah,
get the next thing up and then just keep it going and work on fixes on anything I need, and we're just gonna stay with that for a while. Just a lot
yeah,
of places need to just kick it into high gear and just keep upgrading something until it gets to a good point where you're maybe farther than a lot of other stuff where you could probably take a break for a short period of time and just keep
yeah.
on and then just work on bug fixes and
It's
keep
kind
it
of how a
going from
lot of
there.
the smartphone industry is at this point. Like a lot of them have reached the point where like every new phone release is less eventful, but honestly kind of in a good way because it's just they've gotten so good at making smartphones now that every release doesn't have to be a huge event. They just keep refining it and keep making it better. And like, yeah, would it be nice for it to be more interesting every once in a while? Absolutely. But every new phone, every new Pixel, every new Samsung device, every new Apple device, all of them run so great because they've just reached that point where they are just getting very good at making new phones. I wish the internet providers would get to that point.
The only thing I would have to say is like when it comes to phones, the only thing I can say is update your processing because some of that is their processing is just kind of bad and it needs a bit of a work to be able to process stuff a lot better because people are on their phones a lot more nowadays than they were 10 years ago even.
Oh yeah.
You're on your phone a lot more. You need that ability where your phone's not going to die or start to slow down after 3 months of using it. You need it
Yeah.
that like my PC, I mean, I have probably one of the top processors that are out right now, like the newest versions. And I've had my PC for about a year, even though I didn't get to use it for about half the year. It's still, it's still the processor's keeping up. It hasn't slowed down at all. It's still running at a good pace. Like PCs, their processors run at such a good pace for such a long period of time that they don't have to do as much. And when they release a new version, it's so far advanced that it'll run for a while until at that point it's like if it slows down before the next version comes out, all you really have to do is go through and buy a new one and it'll run just fine again, because
Yeah.
processors, like, they'll wear out but they're easy to replace. I mean, they're expensive but they're easy to replace.
And they usually don't wear out that easy. Like most of the time, like even my MacBook with the new ARM processor, like this MacBook I've had it for going on 2 years now. Um, and it hasn't even hesitated. Like it still runs every single day, still runs nice and cool. My old Dell PC, now that thing was a kicker. She was 6 years old before I finally retired her, and I didn't even retire her because the processor was going bad. It's just it was so old that it was finally starting to like not keep up with everything. So even in that case, if a smartphone would last 6 years that strong, I would love it a lot more, because usually smartphones will hit maybe 4 years before they start to feel really bad, but usually they start to really get sluggish in 3 or 4.
Well, nowadays it seems like your smartphone starts to slow down after a year, and it just gets to a point where it's like after 6 months you start to notice it's not as running as quick, and then after a year it's like it's running super slow. It's like stop, like you gotta just with phones you just gotta build a good processor. It's gonna work for a long period of time, and it's got to be stable and good, because if you keep selling cheap stuff, eventually people are just going to quit buying it, because it's like there's no point, it's just going to break and they're going to start downgrading.
Yeah. Um, but so that's all of our big news stories that we have this week. We wanted to keep a shorter news segment because we knew that we were going to get distracted by all of our fun returning stuff. And then, just so everybody knows, also as a little side note here, we do have an email now for Weekly Gaming on Xbox. And let me grab it real quick so that I can remember what it is, because I know it's at Zoho, but I always forget what it is. But the email will also be linked in our show notes, and it will be linked on it will be linked everywhere. It's in the show notes. It's in our contact information on our our podcast on every website. Um, and yeah, it's just Weekly Gaming on Xbox at Zoho.com. And if you guys are nervous about spelling Zoho or Weekly Gaming on Xbox, like I said, it will be both in our show notes and in all of our official reference stuff. If you guys have any news stories, any topics that you want us to discuss, or just any comments, concerns, or care for the show that you want us to hear, make sure to email us at that email, and we'll make sure to touch on those emails every show, which will be super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, even if we're wrong on something, because we're not always going to be right.
Oh, call us
There's
out.
a
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like let
I'm
us
here
know
for
if
that.
if you know something about a game or a console that like we don't know, or even if something new drops and we haven't tried it out yet, or you have, or you've owned it for a while or something like that, and please let us know. Let us give us some updates. Keep us posted, because there's a lot that we have to go off of. There's a lot of information that goes out in the internet, so it's like we have to just kind of go off of what we can find, because we can't afford everything. There's a lot that we have
Yeah, I
that
wish
we
I could
have
buy
as it
every
is.
new thing.
Yeah, I do too. But stuff gets expensive. I mean, some people have some stuff that others don't. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we can't afford that maybe some of you guys can. I mean, we put a lot of time and effort trying to be able to keep you guys updated the best we can, and it gets tough because a lot of the time we just have to kind of go off of what we find on the internet for results. Some games we can try and keep you updated with. Like, for example, the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 drops, I think, coming up here pretty soon next month. I think it's next month. It's usually in, it's always, usually COD. They always drop their games in November. This one, the official release date, if I can find it, because they have the old one. It's still in pre-order. I don't think beta is available anymore, so you can't play beta anymore. When's the official release date? So I'm kind of
I don't know what was
curious.
going on with that currently.
Hmm.
But yeah, a lot of games and stuff we can keep you guys up to date with, but sadly new hardware we can't always. As the show grows, in case anybody is interested, I do have a Patreon that just funds all of our channel stuff, which Trevor still is funnily subscribed to because he does it so that I can keep running our Minecraft server. Um, but for all of you
Oh,
that want to add money, the Patreon, all the funds go directly to either the YouTube, the podcast, or anything like that. Usually it's podcast first, and then helps us run our server or other stuff like that. So you guys are always welcome to visit that Patreon as well and drop some money so that we can add some more stuff to the podcast and make sure that everything else can stay running smoothly. Maybe eventually we'll even upgrade the server so it's crazy awesome.
I went to the Call of Duty website, and actually, they started pushing out COD games a bit sooner. I guess this one releases the new Modern Warfare 2 game that releases. It actually releases on the 27th of October this year. So
Oh, so it's sneaking right up on us.
it's slowly been moving closer into October. So it's at the end of the month. It will be dropping actually 2 weeks from tomorrow, the 13th, which is because we're recording on October 12th, 2022, which is a Wednesday. It
Yes.
drops on October 27th, 2022, which is a Thursday. So I am excited. I will probably pre-order that this weekend. I'm probably gonna drop $100, even though I probably don't need to. But I'm gonna try and get as much content out of it as I can. And I think I work nights that week. Yeah, I'll be on nights that week. But that weekend, I will be when it drops. I'll be at work that night. But I think I should only be at work for 4 hours because I think we're going to be doing 12s and a 4. So I should be able to get done at 8 p.m. my time. I have no clue what time everyone else's is. But I will try and jump on and stream some of that game that day. Um, really hoping to. I'm debating whether or not I should buy it on my Xbox or not, or if I should buy it and put it on my PC. Because I'm tempted to run it off my PC, but at the same time, like if I play it on my PC, I'm hooking up a controller because I do not play COD. Like I'm tempted. I've been trying. I'm trying to get into playing on a keyboard and mouse, but I've just Call of Duty's been a controller game for me since I first started playing as a really young kid. I think the first COD game I ever played, I want to say it was like Modern Warfare 2. Back on the PS3, I play it with my cousin. He always like wanted to want us and dumpster us because we didn't own the game or know how to play because we were really young. So
So,
that's family for you. But
yeah,
I do
really.
hope I do hope to I want to stream it the day it comes out. Um, I really hope there's not as many bugs as I know there's probably going to be because there's a
I
lot of
was
like
about to say, we know COD. Come on, you know that it's gonna be like okay for the first 10 minutes, and then you're gonna find tons of really fun things.
yeah, there's gonna be a lot of bugs that drop with it, but that's what happens when you drop a full game. There's always bugs that pop up out of nowhere that shouldn't pop up, but they usually get those updated pretty quickly. And actually, on the topic of COD, I'm just gonna go into a short segment with it. This will be the
Okay, we're
last
moving over
year.
to the COD segment.
That's what's gonna happen when you have me on a podcast. I always want to talk about Call of Duty, my guy. Actually, on the topic of Call of Duty, this Modern Warfare 2, the revamped new version that they're bringing out, will actually be the from what I've heard from a lot of like chatter around the internet and everything, this will be the very last Call of Duty game that they will release yearly.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
heard as well. This is gonna be probably the last one for the normal yearly releases.
So, to all those who don't understand what I mean, they're going to be going to a bi-yearly system, which so they'll drop this game this year, and next year, 2023, they will not be releasing a COD game. They'll be releasing another one in 2024, essentially because a lot of people nowadays have started to complain. And I am actually kind of with them that with each new COD game, I mean, you get a year of content out of it and you really love the game, and then they drop a new one, and it's like you can't. I mean, they're dropping them. They drop them so fast, and they try and update two of them at the same time, and eventually it just it doesn't work. And I think they're really trying to eliminate the fact that they're trying to work on two games at the same time, and which will be really handy because they can keep one game updated, they can keep all the bugs fixed, the graphics running nicer, the game running smoother. So I think what they're trying to do is really switch it up and create a new system where start a new system where they can keep their games running better for their players. Because I know for a fact I've tried playing Warzone and I can't. Like Warzone for me
Yeah, it's
is
pretty
way too
rough.
laggy. It's just too laggy. There's too many bugs in it now. Like for me personally, I get too many bugs. Like I run an Ethernet cable into my devices when I play games, so I can get the best um, content. You know, when I stream, I want the best view for you guys, or like when I play games on my off time, I just want to be able to play without issues because when I'm lagging, it takes the fun out of the game. And you know, playing that game even with an Ethernet cable, it's not even about the internet when it comes to Warzone anymore. Like it's
Yeah,
more of
half
a
the time
factor
it's
of
just the server latency.
yeah, like the servers are just kind of going to crap. I mean, they're dropping in frame rate, they're dropping in gameplay. It's just you can't play it all that well, and it's just tough nowadays. Like I just can't even play it myself, and so I just like I tried to install it. I wasted I don't even know how much time reinstalling it just to try it out. Played like 2 games. I played 2 games and then uninstalled it because I couldn't do anything. The movement is just not what I remember. Like if I'm not playing, like I play it on my Xbox for people who don't understand, like why I have so much issue. My Xbox is somewhat newer than some other people's, but it's still an older version. I've had
Yeah,
mine for
which one do you
about.
have? Do you have the 1S or?
I have the One S, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
been out for a few years, but you know, it
Still pretty
like
new.
yeah, it's still decently new, but I mean majority of my games, you know, they'll lag out and they'll bug out, but they still run pretty smooth when I get into a game. That game just would not run smooth at all.
Yeah.
Warzone will not run smooth at all. So I gave up with it and I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Like if I wanted to, I could try and download it on my PC and play that way. I don't know how much fun I'd really have. Um
Yeah.
Warzone just I didn't enjoy Warzone. Like the Black Ops 4 when they released Black Ops 4 and they had their first like battle royale style game. I tried it out and it was kind of fun. It was just kind of difficult at the same time, so I didn't play it much. But then
Oh
when they
yeah.
released Warzone, it was fun at first, and I would actually get some wins on Warzone. I don't think any of my streams are up, and I don't think I ever uploaded any videos, but I did remember I streamed back in earlier Warzone when I think Black Ops Cold War just released, or even before it had released, and it was a lot of fun. I actually didn't lag. I didn't have any bug issues or visual glitches or anything like that. I had no issues with it. It was actually fun. I got some wins on it, and I just can't play it anymore. It just doesn't want to work with any of my stuff.
Yeah.
I and there's no FOV slider, and so I actually run all of my video games off of computer monitors now, and there's no FOV slider, so it's just so difficult to play because I can't see half the stuff because it's so zoomed in with it,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and it just gets rough. Like I think there's a lot of games I play that have the FOV slider that I have it cranked all the way out just so I have the best field of vision that I can have, and that game just doesn't have it, and it's frustrating because I can't see anything. I can't play. There's too many like visual glitches, bug glitches. It's just so rough for me, so I just kind of give up with it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a big thing. I feel the same way. Like the also the like blurriness to the motion blur. Like the motion blur you can customize it a little bit. But even when I customized it, it really just didn't. I don't know. It just doesn't feel very good. The motion blur, even in the new Call of Duty, the motion blur just doesn't feel. It's like almost. It's like almost. I want to describe it as like loose. Like it just feels like it's just stapled on top of the game instead of being like realistically rendered in the game. So I feel like every time I just move, the screen just goes blurry, even if I only moved a little bit. And then sometimes when I'm running, it's like not blurry enough. And I'm like, okay, if I was actually running, this would be super blurry, but there's only like a little bit of blur. And so I don't know. They just really don't have that tightened up very well, I don't think.
Yeah, and I noticed with Warzone, especially Warzone, like because like like I said, I've been grinding out Black Ops Cold War a lot lately. I've really been jumping back into that the last couple weeks and playing that a lot. I really should
Yeah,
do a stream at some point. But I don't know how enjoyable
absolutely.
it'd be. I don't know how enjoyable it'd be. I've been playing a lot of snipers only, or I play like hardcore TDM because I like those games. They're fun. They're easy to like level up and really unlock stuff or go for stuff, and it's just fun that way. But it's like with Warzone, the motion blur. Like I'm not one that gets motion sickness easily. Like I'm the
Uh-huh.
kind of person that I love going on roller coasters. I love having that thrill and speed and everything like that. But playing that game, Warzone alone is the only game that I've actually ever felt motion sick playing because of how just the movement in it is just isn't as good as it used to be. Like they put so many updates into it. They merged it with Cold War. It didn't work, and then they merged it with Vanguard, and it just didn't work. And it just I feel so motion sick playing it. I just can't play it anymore.
Yeah, they just have lots of weird stuff with that. But so hopefully this transition to a new COD release schedule will go well for them, and then hopefully this game also just turns out well because I haven't there hasn't been too much chatter about this game yet, even through the beta. But like honestly, that's probably a good thing knowing Call of Duty. So the less chatter, the better. Probably the less chatter, usually the less buggy it is, because usually the more buggy it is, everybody talks about it. So
Well, I've
hopefully
seen
this one
some
goes
YouTube
strong.
videos, and it actually looks pretty good. So
Okay, and then this one will be the last one for a while. Then we're gonna have a year of break, and then hopefully we'll get a new tighter version of one, and then hopefully that really follows through with them. I think more development time is good for them. I think that's why their games can be so buggy, and why sometimes it feels like the games just die off after 6 months. I feel like it's because the developers have to like reorient their resources to the next game like 6 months in to make sure that everything can be ready for the next game. And so I feel like this will just finally give them a break where they can at least concentrate on the game for a whole year, maybe even a year or 2 years, and then they could just give so much more time and effort and care.
yeah, and
Yeah.
with COD for sure, they definitely like they spend a massive amounts of time.
Oh,
They put
immaculate.
out like content updates about weekly, and so
Yeah.
I think with giving that extra time, they can put out better updates that won't cause as much issues.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And so I think that'll be good. And that's the nice thing too is they have like their three developers, and so that's why like each developer could concentrate on the game for a year. But even that, like in reality, the developer only has a 2 year break till it usually rotates back to them because they usually rotate between all three, the Treyarch, Robin, and the other one. Um, and so now
Activision.
that Activision, yes. And so now that they have a year slot in between each game, now that just subsequently gave each developer 2 to 3 more years of prep and time in between their next release of Call of Duty. And so I think that'll just be crazy for them. I'm sure that they're going to have so much time on their hands that they'll probably cry.
And actually, I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize is with these COD games, some of these COD games, I think Black Ops Cold War, they spent, I can't remember how much time it was. I want to say it was like 18 months creating it.
Oh yeah, they
But,
usually each Call of Duty is at least like a year or two of dedicated work.
well, no, that's the thing, is there were some games, I want to say, which game was it? I think Vanguard might have been one where they spent maybe it wasn't Vanguard, but there were some games where it's like some of their COD games they release and they spend 18 months building it, creating it, everything. There are some COD games that they spent 5 years working on that then got released. Like there are some games that they worked on for 5 years before
And see,
releasing.
that's how it should be because I feel like a lot of those, like I know World War II, the original, was one of their like longer ones that incubated for a while, and that one is critically acclaimed. Everybody thinks about that. That is one of the staples of the Call of Duty franchise. And so it goes to show that if you actually give these developers enough time to work on a game and make something that they actually are compassionate about and driven about and have time to do, it can make some crazy things. Like there's been no real Call of Duty these last few years. Every once in a while, like Advanced Warfare for me was a pretty good one, but I know it was not very critically acclaimed for most people. Um, but they had some like that where some of us in the community absolutely loved it, but others hated it. And I feel like with more time, we can have a lot more of those games that people are like, oh, remember this one? Oh, I love the zombies in this one. I just want there to be more notability with each COD release that has been kind of absent these last few years because I feel like they just haven't had enough time to really perfect the game. So they kind of just have been doing cookie cutter games.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of people need to like kind of sit down on. It's like, oh, where's this game? Where's this game? Where's this game? I mean, Cyberpunk was one of those games where it's like everyone was like demanding and demanding, and it's like eventually they're like, they kept pushing it back because every time they go to put a massive update into fixing something or putting something in or something, it would
Yeah.
break something else massive. And it's like, a lot of people don't understand that it takes a lot of time to create a game. You can't just whip up an idea and create a game in a week or a month. Like it takes months and
Oh yeah.
months and sometimes years of programming, setting stuff up. I mean, eventually you add new stuff, so you have to take the
GTA is
time
one of the crazy ones for that.
yeah, so it's like a lot of times it's like that's why COD is switching. I think one of the main reasons COD is going to switch to this system of, we're going to release it every other year because people have been so demanding on like where's the new COD, where's the updates. I think mainly like the new COD. I think people can go like an every other year without getting a new one
Oh,
because
absolutely,
people.
yeah.
It's more of like we enjoy this game, but you're releasing another one next year, but it's like that you're just going to break this one. You're not going to put as much time or effort into the bug fixes or updates or putting in details into like new skins. And it's just a matter of like you have to give these developers the time to work because they have to. I mean, when they add new weapons or something into the game, you have to give them the time to be able to get the weapon design, get skins or stuff added so it's compatible, be able to test it out and get it to work so it won't be overly broken or underly damaged and just not working at all. Like you have to give these people time. Like they
Yeah.
spend some of these people have spent just absolutely years and years of their time working on creating this system of one game just to be able to make something awesome to put out for people to enjoy for years on. I mean, I'm about ready to buy Black Ops 2 again and download and
Yeah.
save all my stuff, get it all back and jump back in.
Even
I mean, I know people won't be playing that game anymore, but I think I
yeah.
own if I remember correctly, I think I own either all of the maps or some of them. I don't remember if I owned all of them, but I think I owned all of them. I
Even
played that
GTA
on the
6
Xbox
is
360.
oh yeah. And even like GTA 6 has been in development for like 8 years now and they still don't even have plans to release it next year 100% yet. Like some people are thinking that it might finally release next year or so. But there's been no official
I
news yet, you know?
I wouldn't say it's been in building for 8 years. Um, it's been in building for a few years, but I wouldn't say 8 years.
I think
It's one
they
of
said it was 8
those.
now. I think they said it was either 7 or 8 that
I don't
they've
know,
been doing
because
it cuz they started it before GTA 5 because they start each game right before they release a new one.
I mean,
And
possibly. I
GTA
mean,
5 has been out for how long too if you think about it. When did GTA 5 release? Wasn't it
I think it was
2016?
2000. I thought it was 2014.
Might have been, let me see.
But it's like, some of these games, it's been out for a while.
2013.
2013, yeah. Actually, GTA 5 will have its ninth birthday on the 17th. Or no, September. Okay. So it had its ninth birthday this last month. And
Yeah,
it's
let's
just,
even see.
yeah. Um, but I mean, once GTA 5 released, like a year later, everyone was like, "Oh, GTA 6 is going to be coming out soon," and people have just been blowing up the idea of GTA 6 is going to be out so
Oh,
quickly that that's why you know they're putting all this pressure on these developers on like, "Oh, where's 6? Where's 6? It's got to be better than 5. Where's 6?" And it's like the more pressure you put on these guys, the harder it is to make something that's going to be good and enjoyable. I mean, GTA 5, they're still putting in updates into that game almost almost 10 years later. I mean, 9 years later, and they're still putting out massive updates, still adding great content. new weapons, new cars, vehicles.
So
Um,
here is the scoop. GTA
yeah.
5 took about 4 years to develop. As of right now, Rockstar's last announcement is GTA 6 has been 10 years in development. They started it before they even started GTA 5 because it was going to be a larger project that they were going to replace. It was supposed to be GTA 5, and then the aspirations for the project became much larger, and so GTA 6 has been now going on 10 years of development. So even stuff like that, who knows what's going to happen there.
It's just
Like
a
that's
wait and
kind of
see thing.
crazy.
It's
Yeah, but
just a
that's
wait and see
crazy
thing. So
how much time they put into that. Imagine how many like reiterations of that game there has been. That game has probably been like ripped down and rebuilt so many
well, think
times
of
it's
how
not even
far
funny.
gaming has come in that time too. In 10 years, gaming has come a long way. So they've been, every year there's new stuff coming out. So they've been updating, how graphics are gonna look, how controls and movements gonna work, different vehicles. I mean, every vehicle is based off of a real life vehicle. Some are made more towards like what they want. So it's just a matter of like, you know, they're basing everything off of all the stuff that comes out, and with so much new stuff that's been released over the last few years, they've been putting. I'm willing to bet they've been putting all this time that they've been working on it into updating and making the game, probably more realistic, probably more enjoyable. Adding so much more stuff that is going to make the game one of those things where you're gonna sit and play it for 20 years and you're still gonna be like, I'm gonna wait for a 7, but 6 is gonna be it's just so enjoyable right now. Like GTA 5 right now, it's been out for almost 10 years, and they're still working on 6, and look at it, it's still super popular. GTA 5 is still super fun.
Yeah, GTA
um
5 has gone through so much too. They've gone through so many visual revamps. They've revamped the graphics engine every time that they've released it on a new console. So they did it originally from the 360 to the one, and then they eventually redid it again for the one to the Series X. So they've really rebuilt that engine 3 times in its lifetime already. So you can only imagine what they've been doing with GTA 6.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've been putting so much time in updates and factoring in everything. So yeah, I mean, like you can't sit and hate on all these companies for not releasing games so quick. I mean, they're spending all this time working on creating the perfect game for you and
Yeah.
like to enjoy for a long time.
But yeah, so I think that is going to be the end of this podcast. I want to cut us off before we get too much more ranty. Um, but yeah, very exciting. Very excited to see what happens with Call of Duty. We're gonna update you on this Logic G and see how its releases. Because whenever this podcast release, it will be releasing the same day as the podcast. So we will get the scoop on that for next week's podcast. And of course,
Before we
we're
go,
yeah.
did you want to do a short little snippet of why we've been gone for so long, because we didn't really talk too much about it.
We opened a lot. I can do mine real quick. Like I said before, um, I moved frequently, and then we had some transitions between a lot of my moving, and then I started 3 new job positions. Now I'm a digital marketing assistant for a nonprofit, which is super wonderful. But I changed from T-Mobile to AT&T between the time that we were gone, and then every time I would move, we couldn't record. And then whenever I moved the first time, your PC or the first time we just went on hiatus, and then the second time that I moved, your PC broke.
Yeah, that's
So I know from my perspective, it was just a lot of like missed timings. Like I would be moving and you would be totally fine, but then whenever I'd finish moving, something would happen to you. So from my perspective, I would start getting ready for the podcast, then of course something would happen.
yeah. I've had a lot that's happened. I didn't really touch much into it. In the time that we've been gone, I mean, we started this back when what before. I mean, we're both 20 now. I think we were both 18 when we started doing this.
Yeah, you either
Um,
just turned 19 or 18.
Yeah, so we were still like really young. We were still fairly younger. I know in that time, I've had a couple jobs and I'm at a new one now. I'm not going to release company names just because I don't want to put any sort of like bad rap on any companies or, like say anything bad. I worked for a local cheese factory for 6 months. It wasn't a bad job. It was a good start at a high school. Eventually, I moved to something else, which I worked there for about 8 months before I got fired because back in early January, I had actually moved out of my parents' place and I've been living on my own for the last 10 months now. Um, so I've had a lot that has really happened. I moved out. I'm living on my own with some roommates. I've still tried to jump in and do some streams and upload some videos in that time to try and keep stuff going. At the current time of recording right now, the last video I uploaded to YouTube was 5 months ago, so it's been a while. But at the same time, that was before my PC crashed. That was when I could still go through and edit videos.
Yeah, I've
I
been on a
still,
complete media hiatus because since we kept taking pauses on the podcast, I just kept everything paused. So my last video was probably uploaded not too long after we took the hiatus from the podcast. So
yeah,
I know it's been almost over. Oh, it's been healthfully over a year since I've done too much. I've streamed a bit. Some of you probably have watched the streams and stuff. I have streamed a bit since the podcast closing, but YouTube has been very inactive for me.
yeah. I know for me, it's just been it. I've been back and forth. I got fired from my last job for sleeping. I just started my new job I'm at now. Oh, what's it been? It have been five 5 months at the end of this month now. No, 4 months at the end of this month. I've been there for four months, and it's a good job. It's good paying, so I can try and put more money into upgrading stuff. I'm
That's
gonna
kind of
work on
crazy. I just hit 3 months at the challenge program, so we switched jobs almost at the same time.
yeah. So I moved into an apartment back in January. And we lived there for up until the end of July. We got kicked out because we essentially were refusing to pay our landlord because she was refusing to fix anything. Like we were having actual issues. Like we were all starting to get sick. There was stuff in the vents. The seals on our windows were just not fixed. So when it rained, it was pouring water in through the door, through the window. Um, and we lived in it was they were I thought they were nice apartments, like they seemed pretty nice. And then I started my job, and after the end of the first week of my job that I'm at now, I get home that Friday after a long 10-hour day at work. And I've been at work for 50 hours that week, so I get home from a 10-hour day at work, and half my room was soaked in water. Like I was lucky none of my electronics got fried or broken, because the water heater of the apartment above us had broke and water was pouring everywhere. Half my
Which was
stuff
great.
got Yeah, a lot of my stuff got soaked. I was lucky that nothing got like ruined. But I mean, I came really close. I mean, I had electronics hanging like right next to where the water was, so I was lucky that none of them got damaged or even touched by the water. So I was real fortunate to have that, um, which was really nice. And then we are now living in a house, so we kind of have the free reign. I kind of can be a little more loud. We're actually, I think, having a Halloween party next weekend, which will be super exciting. We're planning on having a Halloween party. As it is October, spooky season. I love spooky season. It's so
Oh, I
fun.
love spooky season too. I do love Christmas more for the record, but I love spooky season.
Yeah, I love Christmas, but I love spooky season. It's a lot of fun. I've made new
I'm such a
friends in the
simp.
last time, so
I'm such a simp, but I'm sure we all remember whenever the podcast went through Christmas of 2020, and I absolutely themed out our music was holiday. We had a custom uh, whatever it's called, the header. We had a custom header for the whole month too that I
like a
made all
banner
Christmas themed.
icon.
Yes, yeah. The icon. That's what I was looking for. You had a custom icon for Christmas. Oh, it was great.
Oh, I'm
left
about
it.
to sneeze. Oh,
Oh bless.
but oh,
But
I'm
yeah,
about ready.
so
But
so a lot
otherwise,
of
like,
events, found us over the hiatus. I think the
oh, there it
hiatus.
is.
I think whenever we talked about it, oh boy, he's about to sneeze. I think the hiatus
Oh,
originally we were only going to do maybe 3 months or something. Obviously, that didn't work out very well for us.
yeah, it was gonna be a short period. I've kept up with streaming a bit. I tried uploading videos. Currently, right now, I'm up to 46 subscribers on YouTube, which isn't bad. I'm gonna sneeze
Oh, so
again.
that's good. Yeah.
And actually, I have hit 51 followers on Twitch now, so I have peaked above the 50 mark on Twitch, which I'm super hyped about. Um, I really wish I could have people that would still come back every stream, every watch, watch them or you know do all that stuff. I'm gonna get some stuff downloaded and work on properly updating, like editing videos,
Yeah.
and work on a lot of channel art for my Xbox or for like my YouTube profile, for my Twitch profile. Really try and build some of that stuff up and change it up a bit. So, to those of you who are subscribed, and if we don't post a video on it, which I probably will forget to post a video on it, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. If you see that, if you do listen to the podcast as well, which if you made it this far, congratulations, because we're getting close to the end and we're about 2 hours in. um,
Yeah.
don't be alarmed if my channel art changes on either my Twitch or my YouTube. um, I would say don't worry about focusing on Instagram. I'm probably just gonna end up deleting that. I'm not sure yet, but I don't use Instagram all that much. Still debating on creating a TikTok account to post some like gaming clips, but I plan on working on some channel art and
Yeah, you
updating
can
that.
even do
And
that on Instagram.
yeah, I know.
I know I do want a
I
Twitter for the podcast. That's the only thing I'm going to work on eventually because I feel like every podcast needs a funny Twitter and I will absolutely take that and run with it.
I just feel like TikTok is the place to, like, if I really want to like blow up on trying to like expand like my viewers and like stuff like that. I think um TikTok is definitely the place to go, because Instagram's kind of died
Yeah.
out a bit. Like, not many people go on Instagram much anymore. I still go on it every once in a while. I don't do anything on it ever. I just kind of gave up with it. It's not what it used to be back in the day. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
Meta has wrecked it up a little bit for sure.
Yeah, so I don't use Instagram much anymore. I might, I'll probably, if I do get anything and post anything there, it'll probably just be like, probably later down the line on some stuff I get or updates. But I mean, other than that, like, I have a PC. I spent $2,500 on a PC. It runs really well. I think I have like a GeForce NVIDIA graphics card. I think it's a 3060. It's either a 3060 or 3070. I don't remember. It might be a
30
3070.
something.
Yeah, I don't remember, honestly. Like, I could try and go through the settings of it, but I don't even know if I could be able to find them.
But yeah.
Um,
And now that we have the podcast back up, after the podcast is up and edited, I might finally start now that I'm off the media hiatus. Just so we know, this is my official release of my media hiatus. I will no longer be officially offline. Um, so yeah, you guys
yeah,
will probably start seeing my Twitch and YouTube start to finally trickle in some more content.
yeah, I definitely am. I'm definitely gonna try and get back into like updating, like uploading videos and keeping you guys updated and stuff like that. So um I really hope that I can be able to put out more for everyone and enjoy it. I have an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650, so I don't know exactly where that stands, but I think it's pretty good. I actually get pretty good graphics. Everything runs really smooth. I have like the highest Intel 9, like the newest Intel i9 processor, so I've got a really good PC that I've been running off of, and actually running off the stream off it now, because previously when we, or not the stream, the podcast,
Whatever it
Um,
is.
yeah, but when we previously started the podcast, I was running off of my laptop, which has slowed down a ton. I mean, it's kind of funny because majority of the stuff I run off of that would it's just slow, but when it comes to playing like Minecraft or something on it, it runs it just fine. Like I could have a ton of
Yeah,
mods
there's always some
installed.
games that will just go
Yeah, it's
ham for
just
some reason still.
yeah, it's so weird because it's like I have a bunch of mods installed and I'll run all those and it runs just fine. But it's like everything else, like just trying to load up a browser to go and like search something up or watch YouTube, it's just slower than can be, and that's I just don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so
So
we're so happy to be back with you guys with the podcast. We're happy to both. I want to say this is the official media hiatus ending for both of us. Even though
I
Trevor's
think
still been
now,
semi-active,
you know,
he's
I'm
finally
still
can come
trying.
back. Yeah, but you
I
can
think now
finally
that we're
make a
both
bigger comeback.
I think now that we're both settled into a place, settled down, I want to try and put some updates, maybe post some sort of vlog at some point. But um, about the only other major update I have is the fact that I now have a puppy, and he's actually I actually own him personally. Like he is mine. I went
I
and
like him more than Trevor.
yeah. Well, you have yet to meet him, so
Just kidding.
but he's adorable. He's like a pit bull dachshund mix. He's really cute. Like I absolutely love him. He's still
I don't even
puppy
think you've
age.
shared pictures with me yet, you bitch. You've like only
I
told me about
have.
him.
Well, I've posted stuff to my Snap story, and I know you've seen those. So, um, but he's adorable. He's only like 5 months old. Actually, I think. Let's see. Yeah, he would be 5 months old on the 15th, so he'll be 5 months old. So he's still really young puppy age. So I'm still trying to train him. I might send him to school to try and have him learn that way because
I've never
it's just
sent a
so
dog
difficult.
to training,
I haven't
but
either.
my family has, and I am coerced because especially whenever you find a good trainer, it does work very well, especially when they're nice to the dog. Make sure that you like at least sit in on one training session just to make sure they're kind to the dog. But as long as they're kind but stern, I totally stand it because it's very ethical and they're going to be way better than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've been trying to train him, and I've actually trained him a bit. He's a really smart dog. He's dumb, but he's smart.
That's how every dog is.
like he does some dumb stuff. He's really shredded my bed, my box spring, and he's always trying to take and chew up my pillows. And
See,
I
that's
always
not
stop
even
him
dumb.
before he
That's
can.
just him just being mean.
Yeah, at that point it kind of is. But I mean, at the same time, it's like a lot of times it's like I'll take him outside to use the restroom, and he'll go outside. Like I'll sit outside with him for like a half hour. He won't go. We'll come inside. Like he'll be in the kennel. Like I've kennel trained him pretty well. So like when I have to go to work, I don't like nobody else is gonna watch him. So
Yeah.
um, he goes in there and he's pretty good. He doesn't use the bathroom in there. I'll let him. I'll take him. I'll try and take him outside to use the restroom, but he won't go outside. And as soon as we come back inside for a couple minutes, he goes to the bathroom inside. It's like, dude, you gotta go outside. I bought training pads for him. He won't like. He kind of uses them, but he also kind of likes to shred them and tear them apart. So it's a learning curve. He's getting there though. Um, I want to kind of send him to school, but I'm not sure yet. I know it's really expensive at the same time, and I'm kind of still trying to build up my financial state. I'm still kind of a little bit behind on that. I have a lot of stuff I have to pay for as well
Yeah.
between like my car insurance and like rent and internet and utilities and everything, and it builds up over time. Like it really builds up real quick. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that I really have to pay for that like I don't have a whole lot I can set aside because when I get
Yeah.
paid I have to go to the store and get food so I can be able to survive, and it gets difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. I'm hoping eventually I can build up some money and send them to school. I have a meeting tomorrow at work with the one of the supervisors, the maintenance supervisor, um, which I might end up going into starting next school year. I'll probably do schooling and become a maintenance guy. And
Oh, there you go. That would be awesome.
maintenance makes a lot of money. I think their starting pay for the maintenance at the job I work at is like $35 an hour, which would be really nice. And I've
Oh
always
yeah.
enjoyed like really working on stuff and fixing things and putting stuff in. I've always enjoyed that. I'm not a big fan of doing a 4 crew schedule, but I don't think it'll be too terrible.
Yeah.
It gives me a bit more free time to be able to record and put stuff out for people, and
Absolutely.
um,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of like how are things gonna go? Am I gonna be able to like what schooling is required? Because am I gonna be able to get all the schooling done in 1 year? Or am I gonna have to go to 2 year? Because with a lot of stuff now, I can go to a 2 year. Like for maintenance, I could go to a 2 year and become a get a degree from a 2 year like tech school. We have a
Yeah.
really good one here in South Dakota that I could go to. So it's just a matter of like, am I going to be able to do this or not?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that was a good life update. Um, like I said, we were very excited to be back with the podcast, and we're gonna try our best to do weekly podcasts. Whenever Trevor has his night shift, it will be more difficult, but we'll figure it out. Um, Me, I'm
Yeah,
just a
my
traditional nine
schedule's
to five, so I'm always around.
yeah, my schedule is super weird. I work what's considered a modified 3 crew. So, 1 week I work 4 10-hour days. For 2 weeks I'll work 2 weeks a day. So I'll do 2 weeks of like 6 a.m. to 4 in the afternoon,
Yeah,
and then I'll switch over and I'll be working 2 weeks of nights where it's like four p.m. to like 2 a.m. Or if we end up doing like because night shift, we have more flexibility, so we could do like 3 12s and a 4. So we could go in and work like 4 to 4 3 days in a row, and then that last day on Thursday when I go in, I could only work like 4 to 8 and work like a 4 hour shift, and then I have my 40 hours for the week. It's kind of flexible. I get a week off. Um, Everyone's like like with the way my shift like my schedule works out. Like when I go to nights, after I'm done with nights, I get a full week off. So in that time, I can try and put it into streaming, uploading videos, working on channel stuff,
yeah,
really working on that stuff, and then I'll have a week straight where I'll go to weekends. So I'll work Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then I'll have 4 days off, and then I'll work a week straight. Well, I'll work Friday to Thursday, which is what I'm on right now. So I'm so hyped for tomorrow because then I get 3 days off. I get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and I'm so ready to sleep in because I am so tired.
yes.
I Before this podcast, I got off at work and I passed out in my chair for a couple hours because I was just so tired.
But yeah, so I think that'll do it for this episode. We're excited to be back with you. Thank you all for listening to Weekly Gaming on Xbox again. A huge thank you from me and Trevor for all of your support and dedication, especially for any of you that came back for our return. And we will see you here every single Monday. Until
I
next
do.
time, we hope. What was that?
I was just say I do apologize for not having been around for a while. So much has gone on.
Oh,
Thank you for
absolutely. Same
returning.
here.
Sorry for this podcast episode being so much longer than a good majority of them. We're over that 2 hour mark at this point in time, but we had a lot we wanted to talk about, and we
Yes,
really
yeah.
missed having to get to sit down and just have a casual discussion with you guys. I mean, hey, we didn't have any pauses this time. We went 2 hours straight of talking, so my
Yeah.
throat's shot, and I know I need water, and I gotta get to bed because I gotta work at 6 a.m. So thank you
I know, that's
guys.
why I'm trying to hit the hard cut here. Same here. I gotta get up here soon.
Yeah. So thank you guys so very much. We really appreciate you guys for coming out. Make sure you guys share the podcast. Check out our YouTube channels and our Twitch channels. Make sure you're sharing that with everybody. We'd really love to see your guys' support, and if we can start putting away some money from this, we'd love to put it into giving back to you guys and upgrading
Yes.
stuff for you guys, so we can really put out better content for you. Um, I really don't care to make money off of it. I'd rather any money I'd make off of it, I'd probably put more towards stuff for podcasts or putting towards like giving stuff away.
Yeah, I was about to say we both
partnering
have
with
stable
companies and
jobs,
stuff.
so we really
Yeah,
just want to
I'm
invest the
pretty
money
good with
back into
that.
you guys.
I would definitely want to put all that money back into giving back to you guys.
Yes.
I don't ask for donations or anything, so at some point, if I'm able to give those, I honestly wouldn't accept it because I wouldn't want that. I just want to give back to you guys, be able to bring you guys the best content we can, and make sure you guys are able to enjoy every single day without a beat.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching Weekly Gaming on Xbox. It is your friendly weekly gaming podcast where we talk everything Xbox and we have casual conversation about what's going on in the industry. Until next time, we hope that you guys have an amazing night. Make sure to check out the show notes if you have any interest in any of the stories that we talked about in me or Trevor's channels, and if you want to check out the Patreon or anything else like that. Thank you guys so much for watching and enjoying another week with us, and we can't wait to see you next week. Have an amazing night and goodbye.